Most people in manifestation believe that if they are not feeling happy, excited, or emotionally high, then they are doing something wrong. You have probably heard this again and again, that you need to feel the emotion of already having your desire, that you need to be in a high vibration, that you need to feel intense love, gratitude, excitement, or even obsession toward your desire. And when you don't feel those emotions, you start doubting yourself. You start thinking maybe you are blocking your manifestation. Maybe your vibration is low. Maybe you are not aligned. So what do? You try to force it. You sit there trying to generate happiness out of nowhere. You try to feel butterflies for a person who is not even in your life yet. You try to feel rich when your bank account says something else. And deep down, it feels fake, exhausting, and frustrating. Because the more you try, the more you realize you cannot sustain those emotions all day. And then guilt kicks in. You think you failed again. But what if I tell you that this entire approach is the real problem? What if manifestation was never about forcing emotions in the first place? The truth is, feeling is the secret, but emotion is not what Neville meant by feeling. And this is where almost everyone gets confused. Emotion is something that comes and goes. It is unstable. It depends on your mood, your energy, your environment, even your sleep. One moment you feel amazing, the next moment you feel low. If manifestation depended on emotion, then your reality would be changing every hour. But that is not how life works. Feeling, in the sense Neville talked about, is something much deeper and much more stable. It is not excitement, it is not happiness, it is not even gratitude in the emotional sense. Feeling is knowing. It is the quiet, calm certainty that something is already yours. Think about the phone you are holding right now, or the bed you sleep on, or the house you live in. Do you feel excited about it all the time? Do you wake up every day feeling emotional about the fact that you own these things? Of course not. Most of the time, you feel nothing. And yet, you never question whether they are yours. There is no doubt. There is no effort. There is just a natural assumption that this is part of your life. That is the feeling. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is not something you have to create again and again. It is simply a state of knowing. And because you know it is yours, you do not chase it, you do not worry about it, and you do not try to convince yourself of it. Now look at how people approach manifestation. They are constantly trying to feel something intense. They are checking their emotions every hour. They are asking themselves, am I feeling it? Am I doing it right? And this very act of checking is coming from a place of not having. Because when you truly have something, you do not keep checking if it is yours. This is why forcing emotion actually pushes your desire away, because force always comes from lack. When you try to generate emotion, you are indirectly saying, I don't have it yet, so I need to feel something to get it. And that assumption is what keeps your desire out of reach. Instead, what you need is acceptance, a simple decision, a quiet inner shift where you say, this is mine. Not with intensity, not with desperation, but with calm certainty. When you understand this, everything becomes easier. You stop trying to perform emotions. You stop exhausting yourself. You stop overthinking every thought and every feeling. You realize that manifestation is not about creating a temporary emotional high, but about stabilizing into a new identity. Let's take relationships as an example, because this is where most people struggle. When someone is trying to manifest a specific person, they often try to feel love all the time. They listen to music. They imagine romantic scenes. They try to create emotional intensity. But after some time, it becomes tiring. And when the emotion fades, they panic. They think they lost the state. But think about people who are already in a relationship. Are they constantly feeling intense love every second? No. Sometimes they feel normal. Sometimes they feel bored. Sometimes they are busy with their own life. But underneath all of that, there is a stable knowing that they are together. That is what makes the relationship real, not the constant emotional high. So if you are trying to manifest a relationship, your goal is not to feel love 24/7. Your goal is to reach a point where it feels normal that this person is already part of your life, where you no longer feel the need to emotionally react to the idea of them, where it feels natural, obvious, and expected. This is why Neville said to live in the end. Living in the end does not mean acting overly excited or emotional. It means thinking from the place where your desire is already fulfilled. It means your inner conversations, your assumptions, your reactions come from that reality. For example, instead of trying to feel happy that your person texted you, you reach a state where it feels normal that they text you. Instead of feeling excited about being loved, it feels obvious that you are loved. That shift from excitement to normalcy is the real movement. And this applies to everything, not just relationships. Whether it is money, success, or any goal, the pattern is the same. When you first think about it, you may feel emotional, but once it becomes part of your identity, the emotion fades and is replaced by certainty. So stop chasing emotions. Stop trying to feel something big and dramatic, because that is not sustainable and it is not required. What you need to do instead is much simpler, but also much more powerful. You need to decide what is true for you. You need to choose your reality internally and stick to it, regardless of how you feel emotionally in the moment. There will be days when you feel good and days when you feel low. That does not matter. Your emotions do not create your reality. Your assumptions do. Your consistent inner knowing does. Even in your own life, you can see this pattern. Think about times when something went wrong and you said, I knew this would happen. That knowing was not emotional. It was not intense. It was just a quiet assumption you carried. And eventually, it reflected in your reality. Now understand this clearly. The same mechanism works for everything. If you can assume something negative into existence without emotional effort, you can also assume something positive into existence the same way. So the real question is not, can you feel excited enough? The real question is, can you accept something as true even when you don't see it yet? Because once you accept it, your mind stops fighting it. You stop looking for evidence. You stop reacting to the absence. And slowly, your outer world begins to align with that inner truth. This is why surrender is important. Not surrender in the sense of giving up, but surrender in the sense of letting go of control over how you feel. You do not need to monitor your emotions. You do not need to fix every negative thought. You simply return to your decision again and again. And over time, that decision becomes natural. It becomes your default state. And when it becomes your default state, manifestation is no longer something you are trying to do. It becomes something that happens automatically. So the next time you catch yourself trying to force an emotion, pause and remind yourself that you are not required to feel anything intense. You are only required to know that it is yours. Know that it is done. Know that it exists within you right now. Because the truth is, everything you can imagine already exists in consciousness. The only thing left is whether you are willing to accept it as your reality. And acceptance does not require effort. It requires honesty. It requires you to stop pretending that you need more time, more techniques, or more emotional intensity. You do not. You just need to choose and then remain loyal to that choice. That loyalty is the real feeling. And once you understand this, manifestation stops being complicated. It stops being a struggle. It becomes something simple, natural, and almost obvious. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped trying to feel it and started knowing it instead. I hope this helped you. Subscribe, and I'll be back soon with another golden nugget. Happy manifesting.